Hey everyone, it's Jessica here. It's time for me to reveal our history choice for the year. I know when I did our curriculum choices for each individual child, I told you guys that Bible, history, and science, we are going to be doing family style. So what that means is that they will have their independent work that is individualized just for them, like language arts and math. But then they will also have Bible that we will be discussing as a family. And our history curriculum for this year is really interesting. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good. We'll see. My husband's a history teacher, and he was really feeling it too. So what we decided to go with for history this year is The Good and the Beautiful History. Let me see. History Year 1. And this is the course book. Now what I liked about the history course book, or this The Good and the Beautiful History course, one, it comes in 4 different levels. So you do course 1, course 2, course 3, and course 4, and they all mesh together throughout history over the course of those 4 years, so you see how it overlays. Now I like the fact that, like, my kids won't spend the entire year studying the ancient world. That tends to get boring to me. I mean, history was something that I never really understood the importance of. I never really cared for, because to me, history was always just kind of the regurgitation of random dates and facts. And now that I'm older, I see the importance of history, and I certainly want the study of history to be more than dates and facts for my children. So what I liked about it is that you don't spend an entire year in ancient civilizations. Unit 1 talks about ancient history, and Unit 2 jumps to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Unit 3 of Course 1 jumps to the French and Indian War through the Revolutionary War, and then Unit 4 is the Victorian era, the history of flight, and the Cold War era. Now, I loved this. So we get to devote our first 9 weeks or whatever to ancient history, and I will go over an even bigger, more specific, I guess, breakdown. So when we talk about ancient history, Lesson 1 is the creation. Lesson 2, Adam through Enoch. Lesson 3, Noah through the Tower of Babel. Lesson 4, Introduction to Ancient Egypt. Lesson 5, Ancient Egypt, Daily Life and Writing. Lesson 6, Ancient Egypt, Government and Buildings. Lesson 7, Ancient Egypt, Afterlife and Herodotus. Lesson 8, The Power and Importance of History. Lesson 9, Ancient Egypt Oral Presentations. That's going to be fun. Lesson 10, Abraham. Lesson 11, Isaac and Rebekah and Ancient Trade Routes. Lesson 12, Joseph in Egypt. Lesson 13, Moses and the Passover. Lesson 14, Egypt from 600 BC to modern day. So as you can see, just in the first unit, they overlay like biblical history with common history that we've all studied like in school. So you talk about Egypt and all these different aspects of Egypt, but you talk about Joseph in Egypt and the part that he played, and then of course Abraham and Isaac and all of that. So it overlays biblical history with secular history, so you can see the big picture and the big timeline. And so that's Unit 1. Our Unit 2 jumps straight to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. And so you have in Unit 2, when it talks about the Middle Ages, we're going to discuss ancient Britain, the spread of Christianity in Ireland and St. Patrick, the review and history of your church, which I love. We are going to spend a lot of time discussing the history of our church, in particular, the Assemblies of God. We are going to be able to really focus on you know, how our particular denomination came to be and why it's important today. Lesson 18, the spread of Christianity in England, King Alfred the Great, William the Conqueror, life in the Middle Ages, the Magna Carta Part 1 and Part 2, the Age of Chivalry, Joan of Arc, Part 1, 2, and 3, the Black Death and the Renaissance, the Scientific Revolution, the Faithful French Huguenots. So that is Unit 2. Unit 3, the French and Indian War through the Revolutionary War. You can see there's another little time jump here. And the last 2 units focus heavily on U.S. history. So you won't just be discussing one type of history. You will really see it over the course of the 4 courses. You will see it kind of overlay. And so we are definitely going to be making a timeline and kind of seeing where everything fits in. And I think doing it this way allows you to kind of see one event leading to the next and that kind of thing. And also, I'm planning on doing like 1 unit study per unit, like digging really deep into ancient Egypt and digging really deep into the Middle Ages. And so we're going to be reading books about these things and writing papers, doing lab books, projects, STEM projects about things that go right along with our history units. So Unit 3 is the French and Indian War through the Revolutionary War. We'll be talking about New France, young George Washington, the French and Indian War, reasons for a revolution, the Sons of Liberty and the Boston Tea Party, the First Continental Congress and the start of the Revolutionary War, the Second Continental Congress, the character of Thomas Jefferson, the coming forth of the Declaration of Independence, John Locke, the sacrifices of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, principles of the Declaration of Independence, General George Washington, the Battle of Trenton, Valley Forge and alliance with France, the Articles of Confederation, the end of the Revolutionary War, and lastly, the blessings of a constitutional democratic republic. Then Unit 4, my husband was very excited about this part because history in our public schools, or at least what he teaches, never actually makes it this far into modern history. So he just loved some of the stuff that we will be discussing in our Unit 4 of our history. So Unit 4 is about the Victorian era, the history of flight, and the Cold War. So we'll be starting off Unit 4 talking about Queen Victoria and the British Empire, the Victorian period, the foreign missionary movement, Part 1 and Part 2, 2 famous Victorians, Florence Nightingale, the Great Irish Famine, the history of flight, the Cold War Part 1, the Berlin Blockade, Cold War Part 2, rebellion and resistance, the space race, Ronald Reagan, and the fall of communism. Also included with the this course book is this big book of history stories right here, and it includes maps and images, and the images are just beautiful. Let me see if I can get it where you can see a little better. Some of these, the images that they show are just in beautiful, vivid color. And there's, you know, maps. Let me see. Okay, so here's some of the pictures that they have that they're showing you, the beautiful pictures right there. And so the course book will instruct you when you need to where you need to turn in this book to read more about whatever it is that the unit. So it's just pretty self-explanatory. So I just showed you the course book and the big book of history stories. Also included with when you buy the curriculum is this game, the Keys of History game. It says you can play it from 1 player all the way up to 8 players, and it does instruct you in a particular lesson when to play it. I think it's more just like a review. I haven't even opened it. It's still in the shrink wrap, so I don't know exactly what's in there or how it works yet. I don't know, But I did want to add to, I think I've given you an overview of the book and what we'll be talking about. But they do say on the website, they give like a little disclaimer, and it says these history courses teach conservative principles such as limited government, keeping the power as close to the people as possible, self-reliance, avoiding entitlements, and the role of government as providing protection and not goods. The courses are not a match for those who favor big government or have socialistic viewpoints. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are wondering if this is for you. For our particular family, that's exactly what we believe, and so we love it. So also, when you get the course, when you order history course 1, you get the book, the Big Book of History Stories, the board game, and then you also get your what they call Student Explorers downloads. And this is some of your lessons will have even deeper assignments for the kids to complete independently about whatever it is that you are talking about. For my 9-year-old son, I got him the Student Explorers. I just printed them out online. When you buy them, you get all of the grade levels. Excuse me. All of the grade levels, you're able to print them. You just get them like a download. And so he's going to be doing grades 4 through 6. And so one particular about the creation, first of all, like this is what he'll be doing. Not every single lesson has a Student Explorer worksheet for you to do, but some of them do. And it will just instruct you on what to do. Now, in looking through some of this, it looks like something that my 4th grader would really like. But my 6th grader, it just looks a little too like juvenile for her and her taste and what she likes to do. So I went on and looked through the next level up, which is actually grades 7 through 9, and so she'll actually be doing 7th grade history this year. But it just talks like her assignment on the creation talks about different philosophies of evolution and how they've been debunked over the years, but scientists don't want to acknowledge that. And it just talks like it's more wordy and less worksheety. So she'll get to really dive deep into some of these topics that we're talking about. With her, there are more additional assignments because she'll be doing the grades 7 through 9 Student Explorers. He will be doing grades 4 through 6 Student Explorers. So that's the beauty of homeschool. You can look and see, okay, well, this looks like it might be too hard for my kid, or this looks like it might be too easy for my kid, and so you're able to adjust it accordingly. Now, also with the book, when you buy the course, it comes with audio recordings. So some of the lessons, it'll say, you can read this passage or discuss this passage, or you can even use the audio recording. Now, the audio recordings that I've listened to sound great. I mean, they don't sound really cheesy. They sound fun and exciting. There's music and like theatrics with it, so they can be really listening to the lesson while they work in their Student Explorers, doing work on that, or whatever. So you get that just comes with it when you buy the course. So you can use them or not. That's just totally up to you and what your children like. Also, it gives you a suggested list of books to read aloud in addition to what work you'll be doing in the book. And so for Unit 1, the suggested read aloud is The Golden Goblet. And we're going to read that one. I've also heard really good things about Blue Pyramids, I think it's called. So I'll probably end up purchasing that one as well. And these are a separate purchase, but I went ahead and just bought them so we have them here with our stuff. The Unit 2 read aloud is The Door in the Wall. Yes, The Door in the Wall. That's Unit 2 read aloud. For Unit 3, we'll be doing The American Twins of the Revolution. And for Unit 4, we'll be reading books about it, and you know, that kind of thing. I've got some like picture books, like fictional picture books that we're going to incorporate